The gun came up so fast, I barely saw her hands move. I mean it. 1 second, my daughter Emily's just trudging up the lawn in a towel, dripping lake water all over the grass, and the next, Karen Morris, the self-appointed queen of Silver Pine Lake, is standing there with a loaded handgun aimed dead center at my kid's chest. "Don't move," she barks. "This is HOA-controlled property." Emily didn't even blink, but me? My heart nearly punched a hole in my ribs, and all I could think, cutting through the fear like a lightning bolt, was that Karen had absolutely no idea she was pointing that gun at the sheriff of this county. And she was about to learn a lesson she'd never forget. You hear people talk about life-changing moments like they're gentle, a sunrise, a handshake, maybe a dusting of snow on a quiet fence. But let me tell you, real life doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It grabs you by the throat and shakes you awake. That afternoon, sunscreen still sticky on my arms, the sweet, smoky scent of grilled corn hanging in the air, I realized how far one woman's obsession with control could spiral. My name's Frank Dalton, I'm 62, and for the record, I've never seen anything like this before since. All Linda and I ever wanted was a little peace, you know? I spent 40 years building bridges and roads for a county that never had enough funding. Dreamed of nothing more than mornings with a mug of coffee, a porch swing, and the hush of lake water brushing up against old dock posts. Silver Pine Lake was supposed to be our second chance. We found this place, a little cabin tucked into a pine cove, just far enough from town that you could forget the world existed, close enough for groceries and church. The dock was old but sturdy, hand-built, honest work, the kind you don't see anymore. And when the loons called at dusk, you could close your eyes and believe in promises again. We moved in that spring. Linda planted daisies along the walk. I fixed the porch rail myself. Not like a contractor, more like a stubborn old man who's waited half his life for a place to finally settle in. Days felt like stepping into a postcard. And then, she showed up. You ever hear the sound of a plastic fender rattling on gravel? That's the sound I remember. Karen's golf cart tearing down the road like she's late for a parade only she's invited to. It wasn't just a cart, either. Flashing yellow light, cheap decals, community patrol stenciled on the side. Out steps Karen, sunglasses big as satellite dishes, clipboard strapped to her chest like body armor. If you told me that woman would end up shaking, red-faced, on my lawn waving a handgun at my daughter, I'd have poured you a drink and told you to cut back on TV. But life writes its own stories, and Karen? She was about to write herself into a corner she couldn't get out of. You know that feeling deep down, when you walk into a place and just know you're home? That's what Silver Pine Lake was for us. The cabin wasn't much, knotty pine, a fireplace, a porch with a view, but the quiet sold me. Not town quiet, real quiet. The wind in the pines, the creak of the old porch rocker. Linda squeezed my hand that first day and whispered, "Frank, this feels like a second chance." She was right. We'd worked, buried parents, raised kids, life wears you down slow. We were ready for a new start. So we bought it. Didn't even haggle. I wanted to live, not overthink. We rebuilt the porch rail, Linda scattered wildflower seeds out front, and every morning we'd drink coffee on the swing. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. Just sitting, listening, hoping maybe if life gives you one good season of peace, that's enough. Emily came up the second weekend, brought the grandkids, walked around smiling. "You did good, Dad." We grilled, watched the kids chase fireflies, ate Linda's peach cobbler. It was the kind of night you wish you could put in a jar and open on hard days. We didn't move here to fight. We came to breathe. Third week in, I said to Linda, "I think we finally found a place that can't be ruined." She kissed my cheek. "Don't jinx it." Yeah, I should have listened, right? Peace is fragile. Sometimes all it takes is one person with a clipboard and a power complex to shatter it. Saturday morning, spring sun, air smelling like fresh-cut grass. I'm tightening porch bolts when I hear that rattle. Figure it was a kid's ATV. Nope, here comes the golf cart. Flashing light, crooked decals, trying hard to look official. Karen steps out, jaw clenched, sunglasses shining, clipboard at the ready. No small talk. "Welcome to the Silver Pine Community Association. I'm Karen Morris, president." President? like she's running a country. Annual dues are $600. Please review and sign the membership agreement. She hands me a stack of paperwork thick as a law book. We weren't aware there was an HOA, I said. Realtor never mentioned it. She laughs, dry, humorless, like a principal catching a kid skipping class. Of course there's an HOA. Otherwise this place would collapse into chaos. Standards must be maintained. Linda tries to keep it friendly. We just weren't expecting it, that's all. Karen's eyes sweep over our porch, our garage, like she's mentally circling violations. Attendance at monthly meetings is strongly recommended. I personally oversee the enforcement division. She gestures at her golf cart, her division. I nod, holding the binder. We'll take a look. Don't just look, sign, and return with dues. I like new residents on board. She spins and drives off. Linda whispers she's committed. I nodded, but my gut felt uneasy, like hearing thunder far off. Flipping through that binder, rules and fines piled high. I just kept thinking, how does a place this small have a rule book this big? This wasn't just an HOA president dropping by. It was a woman who thought she owned the whole shoreline and, just like that, decided she owned us too. By Sunday night, I'd read every page. The rules didn't bother me. It was the assumption we were now part of her world. But we weren't. Next morning, I pulled out our property survey, warranty deed, old parcel map from '78. Everything pointed to one fact. Our cabin was never in her HOA. Roads county maintained, utilities independent. Lot predates her community standards. I told Linda. She smiled good. Let's tell her and move on. So, I wrote a calm, factual letter, cited our parcel date, thanked her, explained we wouldn't be joining the association. We look forward to being good neighbors. Mailed it off, thought that was the end. But folks like Karen don't back down. 2 days later, envelope on the windshield, notice of violation, unapproved landscaping materials. Apparently, my stack of cedar planks for Linda's flowers was a crime. $50 fine, doubling in 7 days, signed President Karen Morris. Linda found me leaning on the truck. Frank, she's serious, isn't she? She's something, I muttered, but the knot in my gut grew tighter. Didn't argue, just moved the boards inside. Not because her rules applied, they didn't, but because I didn't want more conflict. Didn't matter. 2 days later, improper waste receptacle display. Trash can at the end of the drive too early. Another $50. Linda shook her head. This isn't normal. She was right. It wasn't about rules, it was about submission. Hers demanded, ours refused. So, I started a folder, labeled it Karen. Engineer instincts, document everything. Emily came up that weekend. I handed her the folder. She flips through, eyebrow arched. So, she's issuing citations for an HOA you're not even in? That's about the size of it. And these fines, are they enforced? Nope. Doesn't stop her, though. Emily, the sheriff, just exhales, Dad, she has zero authority. That golf cart, she's towing the line of impersonating law enforcement. Next time, document everything, call it in. Her husband Mark joins in. Karen blocked my truck last visit, took a photo like she was tagging evidence. Emily laughs. You're married to a sheriff. Making a fuss is my job. But she's right. People like Karen don't de-escalate. They double down. Next week's my birthday. Just a backyard cookout. Family, neighbors, kids running wild. Karen shows up, blocks my friend's SUV, declares a noise violation, counts cars. The bylaws state no more than 4 guest vehicles. I keep calm. Karen, we've been over this. My property isn't, this is a private community. She cuts me off, loud enough for everyone to hear. Emily steps in, cool, polite, not in uniform. Which county ordinance gives you the right to block the road? It's not county, it's community bylaws. Legally binding for members, Emily reminds her, but my parents aren't members. Karen snaps photos, writes notes, finally moves her cart, then just sits glaring all afternoon, sucking the fun right out of my own party. Linda and I sat on the deck after everyone left. She's not pushing boundaries, Frank. She's crashing through them. She was right. The worst part wasn't over. The worst was Karen pulling a gun. The surveillance started 2 days later. Her golf cart parked across the road, just watching. Not moving, not patrolling, just watching. The kind of watching that makes your skin crawl. Friday, another violation. She moved our trash can, taped a fine to it. Linda whispers, "Frank, this isn't normal." No, it wasn't. Then the real blow. Linda get a certified letter from the county. Unpermitted shoreline structure. Possible fines. Mandatory removal. Our dock, older than Karen, older than both of us, was suddenly illegal. Only one person had the time and the grudge to weaponize red tape like that. Emily reads the complaint. This is harassment. Filing a false report is a crime. Days digging up receipts, surveys, plat maps, prove the dock was legal, grandfathered in. Complaint dismissed. Relief short-lived because Karen had switched from fines to government threats. She didn't care about rules, just control. A few mornings later, ran into Gerald at the post office, the timid retiree Karen used for her committee. He looks ready to crack. Quietly apologizes, then confesses. She just makes the rules up now. There's never quorum. She says votes passed when they didn't. Keeps the books. Nobody sees them. The HOA's registration lapsed last year. She's still collecting dues. Legally, the HOA doesn't even exist. He looks haunted. I don't know what to do anymore. Let me handle it, I told him. But not the way she expects. I'll let the truth do the talking. That night, I told Emily everything. She shook her head. That's fraud, Dad. Not the petty kind, either. I wasn't ready to turn it into an official investigation. Not yet. Folks deserved a chance to see the truth with their own eyes, not have it handed down by the sheriff's department. So, I wrote a letter, laid out every fact. HOA dissolved, dues unenforceable, meetings fake, funds missing, fines baseless. What you choose to do is up to you, but you deserve to know. Mailed 39 certified letters. Neighbors started talking, angry, betrayed, huddling in small groups. Karen's grip was slipping. Emily stood beside me one evening, watching. This is the moment before everything blows up. And it did. Sunday afternoon, Linda reading to the grandkids by the lake, me fixing the flower bed. Karen tears across the lawn, ripping up Linda's flowers, waving my letter, wild-eyed, screaming, "How dare you? You ruined everything." She gets closer, red, shaking, blaming me, Linda, everyone but herself. Emily starts up the lawn, steady, towel dropped, county sheriff's shirt visible. "Karen, listen to me. You're pointing a firearm at a law enforcement officer. Lower the weapon." Karen wavers, barrel shaking. Emily steps forward, badge clear, voice calm. "This is your last warning." Sirens wail, getting closer. "Backup's coming. You have one chance to walk away." Karen spins, gun lifts higher, words slurred. Emily moves like lightning, disarms her, deputies swarm in, Karen fights, screams, gets cuffed, and driven off. The quiet after wasn't peace. It was just empty, like the world exhaling after a storm. Flowers crushed, grass torn up, neighbors standing awkwardly. Slowly, folks came forward, apologizing, explaining, finally seeing the truth. Gerald spoke up at the library meeting, voice trembling but honest. She wouldn't let us vote on anything. She just announced decisions. When I asked questions, she called me uncooperative. I'm sorry. Nobody blamed him. Bullies don't last because they're strong. They last because good people don't know how to push back. By the end, the group dissolved the old HOA, replaced it with a volunteer council. No more fines, no more tyrants, real elections, real transparency. They asked me to join, but I declined. I moved here to fish, not run meetings. For the first time in months, people actually laughed. Karen pled out, lost all authority, got probation, therapy, a lifetime ban from HOAs. She and her husband left quietly. The community dock got fixed. Neighbors brought cookies instead of complaints. Karen's patrol cart replaced by evening waves from folks walking their dogs. Emily became a local legend, the sheriff who stood her ground in a swimsuit. And me? I finally got my piece. Coffee on the porch at sunrise, grandkids chasing minnows, Linda planting new flowers where the old ones were crushed. That Karen folder still sits at my desk, not out of spite, but as a reminder. Peace doesn't just happen. Sometimes you have to fight for it, protect it, rebuild it. But once you do, it's yours. So here's my question. What would you have done if someone tried to take over your peace, your family, your community? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me if you think we went too far or not far enough. And if you've ever stared down a bully with nothing but the truth and stubbornness, share your story. Maybe that's how real peace spreads. One neighbor, one story, one stand at a time.